Hey everybody, welcome into Feed and Ferment. I'm your host Drew Jones, and tonight we are going to do a little taco party. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some, this is pork butt that we got at the store. It had a great price on it. It was actually buy one, get one at the store on the pack. So they were cut down into like what we call blade steaks. And what we did was I just kind of cut that meat up into cubes. And we've had it marinating now for about 2 hours in a little bit of vegetable stock, orange juice, salt, pepper, and garlic. That's it. So really simple, really easy. You probably got all those things hanging out in the fridge anyway. Most people, if you got kids, you probably got orange juice or something. If not, you don't have to go orange juice. It just is going to kind of help tenderize from the acidity that's in there. You know, if you wanted to do a little bit of a marinade just with some lemon juice, lime juice, stock, totally fine. You don't have to marinate it at all. I had the time to do it, so that's what we did today. So first thing we're going to do, be really quick here. I'm going to get this marinade out. And the reason I'm putting it into a bowl is because what we may end up doing is once we are done sauteing off all this pork, we might use this to deglaze the pan and kind of have a little pan sauce that we can spoon on there as well. So we'll set that right back there. Now, what I've got is, I typically don't buy like Southwest or, Mexican style seasonings because again, you generally have everything: salt, pepper, cumin, some ground sage, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika. Really the most important, the kind of iconic aroma and taste that I think it needs to have is the cumin. So make sure you got that hanging around. Kind of goes with everything in this genre, if you will. So we got our cast iron pan that's already getting hot, so we're gonna wait for some little wisp of smoke, and it's fine if the meat is still just a little bit wet because we want the that marinade to stick to something as well. Also got some chunks of garlic in there that we're kind of hanging out marinating, so. Okay. All right, that looks good. Let me get my hands a little wash up real quick. All right, so what we're gonna do with this, the whole goal is gonna be, we're gonna cook the pork pretty much all the way through. Again, we're not really worried about it being really dry because we did that marinade. And this is pork shoulder, so it's gonna be a much more tender, kind of juicy part of the pork anyway. So we're not afraid to go all the way. But again, like there's nothing wrong with having, if the pork is medium or medium well, don't worry about that. There hasn't been a case of whatever the crazy pork thing is in like 50 years. So I'm not really super freaked out about that. We're gonna fill this pan. Should be getting there nice and hot. Oh yeah. All right, so we're gonna put a little bit of fat in here. This is just, I've been saving duck fat and I've been saving bacon fat, and this is just a mix of those two. So we can get that in. All right, and look out, if you do have some of that marinade still on there, if it's a little bit wet, you might get a little bit of kind of sizzling and popping going on. So just be careful. All right. Get some tongs here. All right, now it's just time to just let this sit and do its thing. We want to get really nice crust on there. So once we kind of get it all spread out, we don't really want to be messing with it and moving it around too much. Because if we move it too much, we're going to end up, it's just going to be kind of gray. It's not going to have a really good sear on any side. And we want that texture. The taco is going to be a lot of softer components, but we want that crispness. Now, if you do see pieces like this, I didn't leave the fat on every single piece, but I did leave it on some. So what I do like to do is in the beginning, if I see any of these type pieces, I like to make sure that fat is down on the pan so that we can make sure that we're rendering that off, right? Again, this is gonna be super easy. We're just gonna let this go for a little bit. So what's gonna happen here is that right now, because of the moisture that's coming out of the pork and that marinade, we're almost getting a little bit of like a stewing type thing happening. That's totally fine. What's gonna happen is that liquid's gonna evaporate off. Then we're gonna start getting that really nice crust and texture on there that we want. the crispy bits are so delicious. So we want to make sure we have good crispy bits for everybody. Now, when it comes to garnishing a taco, this is what I think is so fun about taco night here at the house is, I mean, anything and everything that you want can go on there. Get as creative as you want. It's really fun to let the kids kind of make their own, just like you were doing a pizza night. You know, let them grab the toppings, grab the cheese, whatever other kind of sauces you have. I'll show you what we're using as we go to plate up. The first thing, what I absolutely love on any of these kind of meats like this, like pork or carne asada, I really like raw yellow onion. These are going to be a little bit sweeter, and I like that kind of raw onion. I do want that kind of sharpness to cut through just a little bit. So typically, you know, with a lot of other things, you'd want to cook the onion out. You wouldn't want that raw flavor. You know, we certainly wouldn't do it with purple onion. We wouldn't go raw purple onion, right? My wife knows, you know, right? Scott Conant would eat us alive if he saw us, you know, throwing raw purple onion on there. So we don't want to do that. This is a yellow onion, so maybe we can get away with it. So I'm going to show you two different types of cuts that you can do for this. And it really, it's totally up to, you know, whoever, you know, however you want to have it kind of presented and how you want it to look. So the first thing I do is I cut off that end, remember, with the little tail. Expose the onion. We're going to take all his clothes off. It is Monday after all. To get this onion nice and naked. All right. So we got two options. Option one is we could go with kind of the traditional, you know, kind of cross hatch thing going on, right? So we can make our cross cuts. And then go down. Now the other cool thing about this, you guys are seeing, this is real time. Y'all are going to see just how quickly this comes together. We're almost to the point where that's reduced. So we're about to start flipping that pork. Right, but this is the first technique we could use. So this is good. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? Nothing wrong with that. Beautiful diced onion. You know, that's great. That's wonderful. The other technique that you can do is you can now cut both sides off. Take that end piece, and what you can do is you can now have like longer onion strips. So whereas this, you know, is going to be this really fine, you know, kind of chop on the onion here. The other thing that we can do, and this, what I'm about to show you, would be fine for tacos, but would also probably be a little bit more appropriate if you were doing like a sandwich, burgers, hot dog. This would be good for a hot dog, but like a burger or a sandwich or anything like that, this would probably be a little better. So first things first is you got this middle finger out in front. That's going to protect you from this blade, right? This knuckle is our guide. Just make really confident knife strokes, really thin. And that's it. And now your other option is these beautiful kind of feathery strips that are super paper thin, so nobody's getting a mouthful of onion. Either way, you're good. You know, either one of these cuts will work just fine. I don't think there's a right answer, just two different techniques. All right, so let's check on this pork. Here we go. So let's start kind of turning here and seeing where we're at. Oh yeah. Look at this color we're getting, guys. Look at this. See, this is what you want. See, what's happening here is that we're starting to caramelize a little bit of the sugars from the orange juice. Man down. And a little bit of that caramelization just from the pork itself. So I didn't put any sugar in the marinade at all because, again, the orange juice is going to have plenty of that. But this is so quick, so simple, so easy. I absolutely love doing this with pork. And this is a cut of meat that's on sale a lot. So the good thing is that you can get yourself a vacuum sealer, buy as much as you can, you know, you feel like buying, really. I mean, we got several packs of it. Vacuum seal them all individually, and that way we can, you know, they thaw really quick when they're vacuum sealed. So it's a really easy, you know, preparation to have any night of the week, right? These are super quick tacos. And these little pork nuggets are absolutely incredible. The other thing that you could do with this right here. So instead of doing this in cast iron, if you wanted to, You could do this in like a heavy bottom, like a Dutch oven pan. And here pretty shortly, when the pork was done, you could pull all this pork out and start going in with onions and beans, and then hit it with some stock and some like canned tomatoes, and you'd be right on your way to like a pork carnitas chili, which would also be really good in the cold weather. So while this is finishing up, we're gonna keep going kind of with our prep here, because it's all gonna come around really quickly. We're gonna get these burners on, these side burners here. Everybody knows you gotta use the front right burner, right? I don't know if y'all are like me, but this is my world right here. Front right burner is the most important burner. It's the best one. All right, so here's the beauty about gas. Here's what you can do on gas that you can't do with electric, other than just control the heat a little better, I think. We're gonna take our corn tortillas. If it's a taco, it's gotta be a corn tortilla. These are street tacos, right? We're just gonna plop this down right there on the burner. And we're gonna let these kind of dry. This is gonna dry them out just a little bit, give them a little texture. And then it's also gonna char them just a little bit. And that little bit of char is so fantastic on a taco. I promise you guys are gonna love that. All right, so we got a plate ready. This is just gonna be for our taco shells. Now, the most important thing when cooking tacos is you gotta have a cold beer while you're cooking. This is from my buddy Nate Darnell and his other co-brewers, Alan and Matt, out at Ferris Artisan Ales out in Trussville, Alabama. And they do just an amazing job. All of the Ferris is kind of Latin for Rome Wild, comes from feral. So it's just kind of wild ales, like nature themed and all this. You can certainly use tongs. You don't have to use your bare hands and be dumb like I am. But the beers are incredible. This is their hoppy blonde ale. So it's a blonde ale. It's got a little bit of dry hopping regimen to it, just to kind of give it some more aroma and flavor. But it's not hoppy. It's just a super easy drinking beer. So great to cook with. All right, we're getting some lovely, lovely char here. So again, really just moving it around. We don't want anything to burn. We don't want it burned, but we want that char on there. Okay. So let's take a look. That's kind of what I'm looking for on either side. You don't want to like burn them to a crisp. That's not what we're trying to do here. It's all right if they char up a little bit on the edge, no big deal. We're going to keep moving right along here with more of these. And generally I say for this, kind of where my count is, I think like 2 for the adults is a really good starting point. Because you can load up tacos as much as you want, man. These tortillas, they come in packs of like 50, so no big deal there. They're not expensive. Get them, they're cheap. We've also got over here, before we started filming, the expert camera woman and my wife cut down some of these into chips, which is another great use. For when you buy that pack of 50, yeah, you can buy tortilla chips. But again, if you know you're not going to use all the tortillas, go ahead and buy the big pack and make them yourself. All you got to do is just put them on a sheet pan, spray them with a little oil, salt, pepper, just super easy. These things, 350 in the oven. And they take about what, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes? Not even that, 25. One, they take 30 seconds. They take about 5, sort of between 5 and 10 minutes. Just kind of get them to where you like them. All right, look at this. Oh my gosh. The meat's looking good. Tortilla's looking good. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do now, because I like where this is at. I'm gonna go ahead and kill that. Our residual heat's gonna kind of keep doing some stuff here, since we're in cast iron. That's the good thing about cast iron. That pan's gonna stay nice and hot, nice and warm, so you can kind of keep moving on with everything else that you're doing. And guys, look, we're almost done. We're almost done. This is super easy. Super, super easy. Okay. I don't even want to wait. I want to get a little taste of this. Just the meat. Oh yeah. So tender. That paprika and chili powder and the rub gives it this really, really nice smokiness thing going on, which is just fantastic. And if you look here, I mean, that's fine to go that we're a little past medium, no big deal. Now, one thing I'm gonna do, I feel like it needs a little brightness, so we're gonna use some of this sherry vinegar. Kind of hit it right on top. A lot of times that's kind of one of those hidden tricks in the kitchen. A lot of people are like, it just needs something. What is it? What is it? And you kind of struggling to figure out what the dish needs. More often than not, it's vinegar. Or acid, rather. And vinegar is a great vessel for that. All right, so we've got our charred taco shells here. That's awesome. I'm happy with where that is. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this meat out. Then I'm gonna show y'all one more little trick. Totally optional, but I'm gonna show you how to do it just so that you know, so that if you decide to use it, you know what to do. Oh man, and some of these big old chunks. I left the chunks of garlic pretty big when I put them in the marinade, but this is why. I love roasted garlic so much. And this garlic has basically been roasted in pork fat now. I mean, guys, come on, look at that. I mean, tell me, look how easy that is. It's so easy. That's no work. All right, check this out. Let's get this pan back going, all right? Watch this. First thing we're gonna do, we glaze with a little bit of beer. Super important, that alcohol is gonna help get all that fond off. Be careful because the beer is going to go pretty quick. All right. Beer is only about 5% alcohol, so that alcohol, this beer at least, the alcohol is going to go away pretty fast. Okay. I think our cameraman's about to steal a bite of this pork. I can see that plate slowly sliding out of camera shot here. All right. So we've done two things. One, we've made our life super easy when we got to clean this pan. Everything is picked up. How is it? Oh, I'm just getting a big thumbs up and big nod. That's awesome. Good. So we've made our life a lot easier when we got to clean the pan. And two, got the workings of a great sauce going. So again, remember I told you we're going to probably save this marinade? So check this out. You don't have to do this at all. But if you want, kick that thing up on high. You're just going to let it start to boil. Remember, it wasn't marinated, it had raw pork in there, so we do want it to come to a boil, and then just reduce it down just a little bit. Awesome pan sauce. We'll wash up here. And the main reason I wanted to show you guys that is, you may not need it for something like tacos the first night, but when you go to reheat it, having something like this that's already done, like a really good sauce, to reheat it in is going to make sure that pork stays really nice and juicy and is as delicious, if not more delicious, on day two. The other thing, again, this is a fantastic technique. Let's imagine that instead of doing these chopped up cubes of pork, if we were doing something a little more elevated, a little more fancy, and we had a big bone-in pork chop, same marinade, same rub, right? But maybe you were going to do it over a bed of roasted sweet potatoes or, a chayote squash puree or something like that. You could then use this as the pan sauce, as the finishing sauce over it. So again, this really applies in multiple ways to kind of what we're doing here with this dish, which I absolutely love. Right, so that's just gonna keep going. Now, we've got our Ferris Poppy Blonde that we've been enjoying while we've been cooking. It's so good. My favorite part about this beer is that aromatically, every time, you almost get this cantaloupe thing going on. This beautiful melon component that is just spectacular. Absolutely love it. All right, so we're gonna get this little blended fat thing out of the way. You guys are probably gonna wanna know what this is. So let me grab a wine key. All right, this is one of my absolute favorite projects out of Spain. This is Lopez de Heredia. This is their Gran Reserva. Their Gran Reserva Tondonia. And this is the 2001 vintage. This is current vintage. Just an absolutely gorgeous presentation on this. Wax finish. The greatest thing I think about this this winery is they actually don't release the wines to market until the winemaker feels like they are ready to drink. Just an absolutely gorgeous bottle. This is from Rioja. This is Tempranillo at its best. So mostly Tempranillo, a little Garnacha, a little Graciano, a little Masuelo. So this is all estate-owned, estate fruit. And let's see, this is a real treat. I actually, there we go. Only had this once, but it was already open, so I didn't have to do the wax part. Alright, let's get that wax off. Here's the only other thing to do. Just brush a little bit of it off so we don't get it in the wine glass. Now, some of you may be about to look at this cork and think the cork is bad. It's not. It's just been laying down for a while. Super gentle here. If you had an Asso, that would be even better. But just look at this. This wine has been laying down so long that that color is all the way up the cork. Gosh, I almost don't even want to drink it. I just want to look at it. But that wouldn't be right. So again, Lopez de Heredia. This comes in from Think Global Wines. Awesome project. 2001 is the current vintage, mostly Tempranillo and Grenache. Yeah, guys, this is like roasted cherries, roasted figs, and dates. It's gonna go so well with that port. Oh my gosh, that's great. All right, last thing, here's what we're gonna do. Let's get one plated up and let's see how it tastes and how it comes together. All right, so again, if you wanted to use this sauce, that's done now. Look at how thick this has gotten. So here, let me get a spoon to really show you guys this. This is exactly what we're looking for. Check this out. Look at that. I mean, it has the color of mole. And this should not need any seasoning at all. Let's try it. If you like mole at all, it's not quite like that, but it's just got this rich earthiness, this depth of flavor that tastes like this has been cooking for hours and hours and hours, and it hasn't been. It's been, what's the clock at? Where are we at? It's been 23 minutes, and we haven't even been doing the sauce that long. This has been going for about 4 minutes. So super quick, super easy. Let's get this plated up. All right, guys. So first thing that I've got, I'm gonna plate it back here and then I'll show you guys everything. We'll move it out of the way. Remember, I told everybody Greek yogurt is the key, right? So we're using Greek yogurt. It's a lot healthier than sour cream, but we're gonna get more of a tang, and I think it's just more filling. So we're gonna get some nice bed, put that on, okay? Get some of this beautiful pork. Look at that. Okay, street tacos, you can come back for more, so we don't need to load it up too much. I do want to be able to pick it up. I cannot not put this on here, having tasted it. That would probably be fine there. That would be good, not great. We want great. Let's do some onion. Okay. Again, we want that bite kind of cut through the richness. Go as heavy or as light as you want, right? Fresh cilantro. I mean, you can't have tacos without fresh cilantro, right? Okay, so kind of ball it up here. Nice, easy chop. Okay, we'll put that on at the very end. Now, there are a few things that I don't like to make homemade because it would be more expensive and more trouble than it's worth. One, salsa verde. If Heredia's salsa verde wasn't so good, I would make my own. But this stuff is amazing. Also, their guacamole salsa, it's got avocados in it. It's basically this with avocados. The other reason that I like buying this, right now, because avocados are not in season, they're like 85 cents or $1 each. That's crazy. If I try to feed a family of 5 at $1 each on an avocado, that's a lot. A little bit of Valentina. Again, it's perfect. So we'll just use that. Okay. Okay. A little bit of queso fresco cheese. Right, nice salty. It's kind of like feta, but better. It's better than feta for tacos. All right, we'll squeeze a lime. That's awesome. Here we go, guys. That's it. That's the plate right there. I'm telling you. If you guys start making this on a weeknight, everybody in your family's gonna love you. Excuse me. Breathed in a little bit of cumin there. All right, here we go. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I don't knock anything over because there's no graceful way to do this. All right. Oh man. I did not think this was gonna happen. Because originally, before we started planning this video, I wasn't gonna do the pan sauce. This is absolutely the star. Do not miss the opportunity to make this. This is free flavor. Make it, make it, make it. But the acidity from the salsas and the lime and the tanginess of that Greek yogurt, you've got the char on the tortilla, a little bit crisp. The pork is super moist, super tender from the marinade. Plus you've got that nice crust, those earthy spices getting all toasted and roasty in the pan. That fresh onion comes through, that cilantro brightens it up, and that saltiness from the queso fresco, and then to wash it all down, some 2001 Grand Reserva Lopez de Heredia. So I really hope you guys give this recipe a shot. It's super easy and super cheap, and it's gonna make everybody in your family, your friends happy, which is the most important part. We always say that on Feed and Ferment. Do what you love, do it for the people you love. Catch you next time.